Hi, this is Dan Morantz with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services in Westerly. I am a realtor and the founder and creator of Westerly Waves, a place to meet the people who make Westerly a better place. Today I'm sitting at the Stead Seymour building, the home of Habitat for Humanity of South County, with Carol Kadamus. Hi Carol, welcome.
Thanks for inviting me, Dan.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So Carol, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a Westerly native? Or?
No, I'm very far from being a Westerly native. I was born in Amsterdam, New York, and grew up in that area, and then spent most of my life in a suburb of Albany. My husband and I just moved to Westerly about 7.5 years ago.
What brought you to Westerly?
The ocean.
Same thing as me. I wanted to live at the beach.
Yeah, we always wanted to live at the beach, and I have a sister who lives in Warwick. We would visit her and her family over the years, and we spent some time in summers in Charlestown. We'd rent a house for a week or something. So when I retired, we started looking for a house in the Westerly, Charlestown area, and ended up in Westerly.
Great. So how did you get involved with Habitat for Humanity?
Well, it came to my attention a long time ago, Jimmy Carter.
Yep.
And at the time, I thought, this is really an amazing organization. The idea of building houses for people, with the people who are going to live in them, really appealed to me. But of course, you know, I was going to college, I was raising children, I was working and all of that, and didn't really have time. But after I retired, I decided that I wanted to have some kind of volunteer effort that I could really spend some time on and put some effort into it. So I called South County Habitat, the office, and volunteered, and it's been 7 years now that I've been doing various jobs here.
And some of the jobs that you do, I know that you're a member of the board of directors.
Yes. Member of the board of directors. I was president for 2 years. Right now I'm secretary. My main job, though, has been working in the office. That's where I started, was doing volunteer work in the office. I've also, I'm on the events committee, so we plan things like the volunteer appreciation dinner. And I guess that's pretty much, oh, yes, I also help by putting out brochures and things like that around Westerly, in the library and the bank. So
I think they call that the Rhode crew?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I know, there's other opportunities for volunteering here. There's a restore downstairs. Mm-hmm. There's obviously the building and all. How would somebody get involved with building or get involved with Habitat?
Well, just by contacting them, either by phone or online. There's a website, and so there's one click and you can volunteer. And Alicia, who's sort of in charge of the volunteers, she responds very quickly, calling back or emailing back and finding out what kinds of things you'd be interested in doing, and then it's a short time from when you call to when you're actually working on something.
What's the most exciting thing for you about Habitat?
Well, just the whole idea that we're working to help people have a place to live that is solidly built, has enough room for the family, is in a safe neighborhood, and all of this happens with their cooperation, with their effort, and many other volunteers. But in the end, when they move into the house, they're paying a mortgage payment that is almost always less than the rent they were paying before.
So they're not given this house?
No.
They are purchasing the house, and
Yes.
I know that for a fact. There's some great opportunities. It really is a true gift to them when they do get a house, but they have to put effort in, and they have to be responsible at the same time.
Right. There's sweat equity where they do have to help in the building of the house or in the restore. There's a certain number of hours that they have to complete, and then of course they are paying a mortgage payment.
Right.
It is an interest-free mortgage, and because the house is built with volunteer labor. Of course, we have to pay for the materials, but the labor is volunteer, so the price is much less than if it had been built by a building contractor.
One of the things that I know that we struggle with at Habitat is finding land. What's the process for getting land?
I don't really know so much about that. I know that sometimes we've been given pieces of land, and most often we're purchasing them. But in South County, it is difficult to find a piece of land that is has a price low enough for Habitat to purchase it. So that is a problem.
And still be able to keep the house as an affordable expense.
Yeah, because if we were spending too much on the land, then it would be difficult to keep it that way.
Let's take a little quick step over to Westerly, but what, other than the beach, because we all love that, what's your favorite thing about Westerly?
I've never lived in a small town before. I lived in, when I was a child, I was in the country, and then most of my life was in the suburbs, so you always had to drive a lot of places. And where I live, I still do have to drive, but I can drive into downtown Westerly, park the car, go to the bank, go to the library, do some shopping, go to the town hall if I need to, and everything is kind of right there. So that's a neat part of it. I really hadn't had that experience before.
One of the questions that I like to ask people, whether I'm on the show or just working real estate, is something funny that's happened. I have a number of funny stories about my house. And my favorite for me is the day, Thanksgiving Day, when I fell through the ceiling of my living room from the attic. Nobody at Thanksgiving believed me about that. Do you have a funny story or a fun story?
Well, I do. Coincidentally, it also happened on Thanksgiving Day. We were between houses. We had lived in a house for 8 years in Guilderland, and then we were having a new house built. And our kids were 3.5 and 7 at the time. Well, the new house wasn't finished, but we had to move. We had the closing, and we had to move out of the old one. At the same time, good friends who lived around the corner were moving to North Carolina, so they said, why don't you stay in, it was going to be about a month, they said, why don't you stay in our house while because we're moving, it's not ready to sell yet, so you could live there while you're waiting for your house to be finished. And we did, and on Thanksgiving Day, we were going to my mother's for dinner, and my sons and my husband had gone down to get in the car, and I was kind of packing. Had made some of the food. I was packing it up to go. All of a sudden, I heard my husband yelling, and like he was really, really upset, and I couldn't imagine what was going on. I ran downstairs. I go into the garage. And what had happened is that the 7-year-old was in the back seat, or the 3.5-year-old had climbed into his car seat, buckled himself up, but of course he couldn't close the car door. My husband didn't realize this. He backed up out of the garage, and of course the door hit the side of the garage, crunched the door, crunched the side of the garage, and fortunately we had 2 cars because we couldn't drive that one, so it wasn't funny at the time.
No, but it's funny.
But we've had a lot of laughs over the years,
Yes. So you always make sure the doors are closed before you back up.
Exactly.
Well, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you again on Westerly Waves. And if you'd like more information about Habitat, please stick around for another second. I'm going to put up all the phone numbers and the website. This is a great organization. It does amazing things here in Westerly, in South County, and around the world. They've built over 100 houses around the world just through this chapter, more than 60 here in Rhode Island. I think if you'd love to be a part of it, please volunteer. Thanks very much.